it opens weak like yesterday, you're getting like a rebound in the action, and that's awesome. That's what you want to see, right? You have your long-term chart, and then you have really the short-term price action of how things are acting. And if they align, that's really good. That means you can be aggressive and do what you've got to do. I think that, right now we're pretty much all systems a go for the market. So we got to do what we need to do. Dun, 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 dun. Cool. What are you guys watching? Give me the juice. Same thing with spot. You can see over here, so you the old high is 275.75. So you're stuck right at that 200 SMA. We're gapping up a little bit over that, but anything over 275.75 is going to be good. That's when the market's going to have some steam in it and really release to the upside. Right now, we're just stuck in a range. And you're seeing that, right? Like the strength is getting faded off, but then the big dips are getting bought, and that's totally okay. After such a run, it's good to take a breather, allow some charts to set up, allow some of these earnings plays to come out and really show themselves. There's been a lot of hot earnings movers and PR movers. Let's take a look at them. The list is a good one today. So you got this TLND for a base breakout. I would be willing to take patterns in this as long as it holds over 41.50. This is a stock that you can take for an ORB or a quick pullback buy. Watch for dips on this thing. It should trade with a pretty good range. NVIDIA's got a longer term bottoming pattern. You see the W down there, right? So when you get like a W pattern, that's a longer term bottoming pattern. Bottoms are usually a process. Very rarely are they events, okay? They take time to smooth out. The odd part is NVIDIA pre-announced their earnings, and they got dusted, and we caught like a 6 short in it that day. And now, they pretty much announced the same damn earnings, right? This little fucker popped $20. So go figure. When the market sentiment changes like that, it's awesome, right? That's a change not just in how the stock is moving, but a change in the sentiment where its news is even getting reacted to differently. I can't tell if this is beer or water in this, but we're going to try it either way. So we got this gap up. I'd keep an eye on this. You're already kind of building a little bit of a wedge pre-market. If we start to come out of that and then you start to ORB and start to really build a pattern, I think you're going to have something there. This stock moves well too. For a thicker stock, 605 million share float, normally we wouldn't even want to touch something like that, right? It would be a huge float and tough to move. But in general, NVIDIA is a good trader. This true is a gap down play. It's breaking down this trend line, 3 moving averages. You're starting to kind of build out a little bit of a range pre-market. I think if you ORB on this bad boy, you should be able to catch some juice, especially if it stays under this 8. If you look at even its weekly chart, if you can get under this 8 level, you don't have really any support till 4. And so you've got like downside on this. Usually the gap down plays don't work that well on like smaller cap stocks. But if you have like a big breakdown on the weekly chart, then you're going to be able to have some downside to this thing. All right, cool. Let's go in. Log in. These are the guys that make like Citrix and GoToWebinar and all these things. Man, these guys charge through the roof. Like my bills on this thing is like $3,000-$4,000 a year just to run this stuff. So for that alone, we're shorting it, right? We're shorting it for egregious price gouging. We're going to be shorting it. The key on this one's going to be if it pops up at the open, you're going to have like a lot of different kind of demand zones in there. Ideally, what we want to do is have it pop down this trend line and then ORB, all right? So when you think about like an ORB, think about the levels, all right? Think about the levels. So to do an ORB pattern or even a pullback pattern, first you need the thrust below, and then a pop back, or the thrust below and then the ORB, all right? But if you do the ORB up here, it's not going to work because you're going to have too much support. You're going to have zones of demand that are going to hold up the stock, right? And so we don't want that, right? We need that thing flushed out, and then you're going to do it. You know, even for an $80 stock, it's only floats only 44 million, so there might be a spread on it. So be mindful of the volume at the open. You know, usually if I take a gap down type of play and it's got even a little bit of a spread, I need to see 500,000 shares come right off the bat at the open just to know that it's going to have the liquidity for me to actually take a short, okay? But in general, right, you need to see millions of shares to have the ease to get in and out. You'd be surprised, like no matter what size account you trade, you know, if a stock is illiquid, it's hard to get in and out like 200 shares sometimes. So you need that liquidity, you know, to get in and out. The pot stocks are going too. One more though, I really like this XPO for the short. This might be my favorite. This stock's always been a turd. It's been a turd for a long time. You know, it was $125. And you can see like when it was starting to get dusted on the news a couple months ago, you were having a range of like $20 intraday on this thing. It'd be nice if we get that again, right? I think this one, you're going to have some downside in this, especially if you can build a really solid pattern on it. Pot stocks. Hey, Zach, what's up, baby? What's going on? Hey, Zach, did you move to London? Pot stocks are gapping up, right? So you got PYX. Looks good. You got a flag pattern over there. CGC had its earnings yesterday. It's moving around a little bit. You're up about 3 points on it, which is awesome. If this thing goes, because this is the one with the earnings on it. So when you think of like a sector, think about which one has the catalyst, all right? Which one has the catalyst? The one that has the catalyst is the first one that you want to watch. Then you look at the secondary plays, the ones with the best charts, all right? Once you have the ones with the best charts, then that's where you go next. So, you know, this cron looks pretty good. I mean, you're basically just in, a flag pattern over here. I like this one a lot, actually. I would say out of all these, this one's the move the cleanest. This one's moved the cleanest the last, few weeks. When you're like intraday trading, CGC's been moving like a big hoe, but cron has been moving like a man of honor, right? It moves and shakes where it needs to. When you're looking at a stock, right, you don't want your stock to be doing some dipsy-do dunkaroo on you when you see a pattern and it doesn't follow through. CGC lately has been notorious for like kind of having awesome patterns intraday and then, you know, getting busted loose. But I do believe because it's the one with the earnings out today, it should move cleaner. Now that you're mounting over these two MAs, you may have upside. Don't be surprised to see this thing go back into the 50s today. But also don't be surprised, you know, if this thing just dumps out and, you know, next thing you know, like everybody's selling this shit. That's how pot stocks work. So CGC, Cron, PYX, all on the list. This TME, you know, we were playing this in the chat room yesterday. This is a flat top breakout here on the daily chart. It's an IPO. IPO stocks have really good range when they break out to all-time highs. You're starting to see a weak open on this. Watch this thing for a red to green today, all right? Red to green means weak open, right? And then green back. Once it does that, you're going to be good. IPO stocks, remember this for the rest of your life. IPO stocks that break out to all-time highs are very powerful. We want to always be looking for stocks like that. I put Yeti on the list too. Right, this one busted out the all-time highs yesterday. Its range on it is actually pretty good. Like when it like breaks out of patterns, one thing I always watch, like when I'm looking at intraday action on a stock, when it breaks out of a pattern, like how does it move? Like what's the range? Like does it actually, you know, I don't want to hold stocks for hours, right? I want to hold stocks for minutes. And so when it breaks out of a pattern, can I get a shred? And then can I get a double shred? And then can I get a triple shred? And if I do, then your day is done. And now you've had yourself a little bit of fun. So be just mindful. Keep this Yeti, TME as two stocks that are IPO breakouts. Then PYX, Cron CGC for your pot stocks. And then, out of these gappers, I'd say XPO, Logum are the faves. All right? That's your list. I'm sticking to it. You can add Netflix, Tamin. I think Netflix has a really nice flat top breakout going here. If it busts over 360 at some point, you're going to get a really nice move in the Netflix. Look at its hourly chart here. All right, so test once, test two, test three. Now you're coming in. Today, if it gets close, it'll be the fourth test. We do know that Netflix got a pretty good range on it when it does move. It could rip 10 points over this 360 mark. So definitely we want to keep this on the list. As always, Friday, don't screw up. You know what happens when you screw up on Friday. You got to tell your wife. You're going to have shame upon your house, upon your line. Your kids won't even be able to look at you straight if you lose on a Friday. Then they're going to say, Daddy, take me out for ice cream. And you can say, I don't have any money for ice cream, kid. I lost it trading pot stocks, and I failed. We don't want any of that, right? You take your kids out to ice cream. Take them to Cedar Point or Six Flags. That's a nice dad right there, right? That's what you want to do. But to do that requires to win on a Friday. Go, make some money, make me proud. Let's do what we do, which is a lot of nothing some days.